If you haven't had the opportunity to watch Game of Thrones episode called Mockingbird, stop listening now. Major spoilers, here we go. Tyrion gains an unlikely ally. Daario asks Dany to allow him to do what he does best. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to start from the end of the episode, and then after that, touch the characters that I care most about, and then after that, end with a kind of wrap-up with everything that happened in this episode, man. The Moon Door just got its next victim, okay? And before we get into that and tell you who it was, let's go ahead and go into that scene. We see Lady Sansa. She's inside of this courtyard. She's making this Winterfell snow castle. It's the most beautiful scene that I've ever witnessed on Game of Thrones, man. There's snow. It has this color palette that kind of looks like something out of Man of Steel. Lady Sansa's there. She's, has this big, humongous coat on. She looks like she's royalty, and she looks happy for like the first time, man. What she's doing is she's using the snow to build this sand castle, or excuse me, snow castle, duh, because it's snow. Forgive me, I'm so excited, man. My heart is just racing. She's trying to remember what Winterfell looked like, okay, so she won't forget. And then all of a sudden, you see Robin, her cousin, he comes up, the Lord of the Vale, lover of the Moon Door, and he, the first thing he notices, he says, well, what are you making? And then she's like, I'm making Winterfell. And he's like, well, where's the Moon Door? Let's put a Moon Door on it. And as he places his hand, to where he wants to point out where the Moon Door should be at on Winterfell Snow Castle, he actually knocks something over, and he knocks a piece of it off. And then Lady Sansa's like, you ruined it. Why did you touch it? And he's like, I didn't ruin it. It was already ruined because it didn't have a moon roof. It didn't have a moon door, you idiot. And then he starts going nuts. He gets up. Lady Sansa, looks at him like, you're a psycho. You're a lunatic. That's what you are. You're a psycho. I don't want you anywhere near, first off, my snow castle, and I don't want you anywhere near me. And it was kind of crazy because he just snapped, like literally just snapped, man. So he starts kicking and stomping the snow castle. And then all of a sudden, man, I guess, Lady Sansa, she was like, yo, I had enough. And then she slaps him. Bam! Right across the face, man. Bap! Slapped him in the face. And Robin, obviously hasn't been disciplined. He's been on the teat for so long. His mother's not doing anything to him. So he grabs his face. He's like, ow! And he takes off running, man. Now, here's where I was like, oh my gosh. I said, she's gonna die. I was like, Lady Sansa's gonna die because you just hit Robin, okay? And we know what happened, last week, Lady LYSA was like, listen, when you're here in my house now, don't touch Lord Baelish, okay? I know you're a little whore. I don't want anything, I don't want to hear anything about you except stuff that's good, okay? I don't want you, I know you're just like your mother, and, she pretty much went nuts and said, I'll kill you, to Lady Sansa, man. I'll kill you even though you're my, even though you're my niece, it's some weird stuff going on there. All of a sudden, man, as Robin is running inside, man, what I thought he was going to do was run inside and tell his mom, she hit me, she slapped me in my face, kill her, throw her through the moon door or something. You see Lord Baelish. Lord Baelish runs up. Or, okay, he doesn't run up, he actually walks up, all smooth, like Lord Baelish, little finger, he walks up, he's like, his mother should have done that a long time ago, nothing to worry about. Anyway, man, he starts kind of explaining some things because Lady Sansa asks Lord Baelish, aka Littlefinger, she says, why did you really kill the king? Joffrey. And after that, man, pretty much, but Lord Baelish pretty much just kind of confesses his love for her and actually grabs her head and kisses her. Now, this is what it's kind of crazy because usually Lady Sansa, she's aware of this stuff, man, and she kind of, reacts to it like quickly. But I think it caught her off guard, man. He grabs her, he kisses her, he holds her for about, I guess, maybe like 3 to 5 seconds. Probably, I say 5 to 7 seconds, man. That's about how long the kiss is. And as he's kissing her, the camera pans back, and then in the left-hand corner, like right over Lady Sansa's head, you see Lady LYSA, who is watching. We're talking about Littlefinger's wife, the psycho, crazy lady. She's watching. She sees everything, okay? And then all of a sudden, you're sitting here like, oh my gosh, like, she's dead. Like, that's what I was thinking. I said, okay, this is not going to end right. I thought immediately, like, first off, that she was just going to, I don't know, call the guards and then kill her. But all of a sudden, man, you see, they kind of switch the scene, and you see Lady Sansa walking up, and she's like, Lady LYSA, you wanted to see me. Aunt LYSA, you wanted to see me. And then, she's like, she starts like talking to Lady Sansa, but she's not really talking to her. She's kind of explaining to her about this moon door and how many victims the moon door has had, and she doesn't know the exact feet, but it's hundreds and hundreds of feet down to the ground. And what happens is when the impact from the height of where the moon door opens, and you drop and you hit the floor, it pretty much it rips your eyes out, and then there's just thousands and billions of eyes laying on the ground looking up. Okay. It was kind of scary, man. It's spooky because she's not looking at Lady Sansa. She's actually looking at the moon door talking about this. So she calls her up. She's like, come here, my dear child, come here. She calls her over. Lady Sansa comes over to her. And then she says, what have you done? And then she's like, oh, LYSA, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hit Robin. And then she's like, you know what I'm talking about, you little whore. And then she grabs her head, man. She grabs her head, kind of puts her in this like headlock move, but she's like grabbing the back of her hair. And then she has her going towards the moonroof. She said, I saw what you did. You kissed Littlefinger. You stupid little girl. What did you let him do with your body? Etc., etc. And then she's about to like literally like toss her through the moon door. And then all of a sudden, here comes smooth Peter Baelish, man, aka Littlefinger. He walks up and he's like, let her go. Let her go. I said let her go. And that's that, like he walks up to her, she releases Lady Sansa, she stands up, so you have Peter Baelish and then Lady LYSA, man, they're standing face to face, and then she's hurt, Lady LYSA's really hurt, man. She's crying, she doesn't know what's going on, she's kind of hysterical still, and then all of a sudden Lord Baelish, man, he makes this little speech about the only woman that he has ever loved throughout his entire life is Lady LYSA's sister. And then as soon as he says that, like, you can kind of feel like Lady LYSA, her heart literally like snapped in half, man. Like he shattered her heart. You could just see the emotion in her face. And then to kind of, I guess, I don't know, like, to hit the nail in the coffin, to kind of like, I guess, seal the deal for like breaking her heart, he pushes her in the stomach, man, like, and then she falls back. And then she's dead. She falls through the moon door and she's dead. Like, yeah. Wrap your mind around that for just a second, man. I have no clue what's gonna happen now because this is kind of a good transitional part, man, where you can kind of segue into this. Brienne of Tarth, another one of my favorite characters, man. She's actually heading to that location right now. And the reason why is because she met up with Hot Pie. Hot Pie was back in this episode tonight. It was really, I'm not gonna lie, it was one of the best scenes ever. He gives a dire wolf pie to Brienne of Tarth, man, to actually give to Arya. And because obviously Arya's with the Hound, and she kind of explained all that, or he kind of explained all that to them. And that's where they're heading to now, man. I don't know what's gonna happen because, I don't know, because, Lord Baelish is over there. He married Lady LYSA. Now Lady LYSA's dead. Lady Sansa's there. I don't know, man, but it's gonna be bad, man. It's gonna be very, very bad. That's a really good point to stop because we're almost at 10 minutes. Let me stop this and we'll start another podcast. Here we go. If you haven't had an opportunity to watch Game of Thrones Mockingbird episode, stop listening now. Major spoilers. Here we go. Tyrion gains an unlikely ally. Daario asks Dany to allow him to do what he does best. That's where we're actually going to start at right now. This is part 2 of the podcast for tonight's Game of Thrones episode. Khaleesi, man, she arrives inside of her private quarters, man, to see Daario in her chambers, trying to put his player status on, man. He's trying to pimp her. He's trying to, pretty much just get in her draws, man, and he's successful. He literally lays down the sword and the hammer upon, the mother of dragons, and I was like, wow, I can't believe this is happening, man. Like, she literally let her guard down. Now, check this out. Here's what I love about the mother of dragons. I think she did this on purpose, okay? Because obviously she knows that, Daario cannot be trusted, and in order to, I guess, make him do what he, that she wants him to do, and because, obviously he has, pretty much 2 things that he does on Earth, and that is fight and then women. Those are the 2 things he kind of loves, and he can't do it, locked inside of Marin. And now she takes, pretty much takes his V card, man, and then after that flips it, and then makes him take an army, a little small army over to Yunkai, and go in, I guess, take that place back over, I guess you will, if you will, okay? And then Jorah, he comes up in the morning, okay? You see Daario come out of her chambers, out of Khaleesi's chambers. He has his shirt undone. Jorah comes up and he's like, he looks at her, he looks at Daario, and then Daario looks at Jorah, and you're like, what are you doing here? And he's like, well, Khaleesi's inside of her room, and you know, she's feeling mighty well. She's feeling really good. And then after that, Jorah comes in and he's like, Khaleesi, what are you doing? You know, why did you do this with Daario? And et cetera, et cetera. This is what she says, man. She says, I don't trust him, but I need him to do what I need him to do, and everything's going to be all right, you know. And then she says, for the first time, what's kind of cool is that Khaleesi actually listened to her guard, man. You know, I love this, man. That's why I say, you know, the character growth and development is so amazing, you know, and they showed that tonight. She actually listened, and then she says, because at first, this is what she says. She says, they can live, and when I say they, meaning the slave masters, the slave owners, they can live in my new world, or they can die in their old world. And he was kind of explaining to her that, you know, you don't have to always rule with such malice. You can actually rule with a little bit of love and kindness, I guess you can say, because the people that you rule over, the slaves, the former slaves, the Unsullied, that's all they knew was just violence. Now you need to show them something different. And she actually listened to him, man. And she's going to use... from last week's episode, that young boy or young man that had his father killed, that Khaleesi actually killed his father, and then she was kind of hearing all those people give their griefs and stuff, and hearing her community. She's actually gonna let him go and go to Yunkai with Daario, and actually kind of give them a little proposition, man. Something that they probably literally cannot refuse. They'll probably say yeah, and then after that, things will kind of change a little bit. And she made sure that whenever Jorah went and talked to Daario, that she said to tell Daario that you changed my mind. You know, that Jorah actually changed Khaleesi's mind. And I actually absolutely love that, man. That was pretty much it as far as Khaleesi goes. The episode tonight was more emphasis on Tyrion, emphasis on Lady Sansa, the Hound, stuff like that. So we're gonna go ahead and head into that right now. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about Arya and the Hound, man. Now check this out, man. I had no clue because I think the guy that plays the Hound's brother, Sir Gregor, he looks so different in tonight's episode, so I didn't recognize him at first, but he's back. Okay, now. Well, I'll go right through that. Okay, so you have Tyrion and Jaime. They're talking down inside of the cellar about the blowback of what Tyrion decided to do to his father last week. Okay, and there's nothing that Jaime can do to save Tyrion. Now, what's kind of cool, man, is that Tyrion actually sent Jaime to go and fetch Bronn. Now, once Bronn came and actually meets up with Tyrion inside of the dungeon, everything kind of changes. Bronn is no longer the selfless guy. He has a conscience, and he said, I like you, I just like myself a little bit more, so I'm not going to fight for you. Okay, now Sir Gregor, the Hound's brother, is huge, man. He's like 8 foot, and he just kills people for fun. They actually show you this scene where Cersei is walking up when Sir Gregor actually arrives into the town and stuff, and he's just literally murdering thousands of little innocent civilians, man. They're just poor people, and he's just massacring them, cutting them in half with one slice. It's really something spectacular, I guess you can see, because it's such a spectacle, because he's so huge. He's gigantic. There's nothing to really stop him. Now, that's a good transitional point, because whenever we see Prince Oberyn inside of this episode, he goes down to see Tyrion inside of the dungeon, because now we know that Bronn won't fight for Tyrion. And Prince Oberyn goes down there, and he gives this kind of story. He says that, first off, Tyrion and Prince Oberyn have actually met before. They met back in the day, the first time that Prince Oberyn left Dorne, and they took a trip over to Castle Rock. When they met, Jaime and Cersei took Prince Oberyn inside of Tyrion's room when he was a baby, and they showed him and kind of introduced Prince Oberyn to what they call the Freak. the freak of nature, you know, this mutant looking baby. But whenever Prince Oberyn got one look at Tyrion as a baby, he said, "That's not a monster, that's a baby." And then after that, he kind of explains how Lady Cersei said, "Well, this baby is the one that killed my mother, so I hope that he dies soon. And matter of fact, he will die soon. He'll pay for what he did to my mother. There'll be justice." And she actually pinches him, young Tyrion. She pinched him so hard inside of his let's say fruits and berries, you know, his family jewels. She pinched it so hard, man, that Prince Oberyn said from that day on, he kind of understood that Lady Cersei was out for his death, okay? And Tyrion goes on to kind of explain that, you know, that Cersei always gets what she wants, and she's wanted me dead for many, many years. And then Prince Oberyn explains that all he wants is justice for his sister and for her children. And after that, he stands up, he grabs this torch, and he says, "I will be your champion." So now Prince Oberyn is going to fight for Tyrion, and he's going to fight Ser Gregor, which is the Hound's brother. This is crazy, man. This is what I'm talking about as far as, you know, Game of Thrones. It's so nuts. I can't say anything more than that, man. That's enough time. Let's go ahead and stop here, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about some more stuff. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, we're back. If you haven't had an opportunity to watch Game of Thrones Mockingbird, stop listening now. Major spoilers, here we go. Tyrion gains an unlikely ally. Daario asks Dany to allow him to do what he does best. This is part 3. We're going to go ahead and continue on, man. Let's talk about Arya and the Hound. They are starting to, once again, man, get a little bit closer in their relationship. It's kind of cool, man, that they are allowing this story to continue, man. Now, tonight, we see Arya and the Hound. They come across a dying man, and he talks about how there's no more balance inside of the land. 2 guys attack the Hound. One guy bites a big chunk out of the Hound's neck, but Arya is able to actually how do you want to say it, help the Hound heal that wound by washing it out and sewing it back up. And the reason why one of the guys bites the Hound is because of the bounty that's on his head. Now, what a really epic moment inside of Game of Thrones tonight was when the one remaining guy that attacked the Hound, okay, out of the 2, the Hound asks Arya, he says, "Is this one of the guys that's on your list?" And then she says, "No, because I don't know his name." And then the Hound asks the guy, says, "What's your name?" And the guy said, "My name is Raug." And whenever he gave his name, Arya said, "Thanks." And then she takes her sword out. She stabs him 1 time in the heart. And it's the same exact location where the Hound killed the dying man after he gave him a drink of water. And he taught Arya, he said, "Listen, right here in this little part, that's where the heart is at. Always aim for the heart." And then after that, she connects with the heart, man. Now, let's fast forward inside of the episode. Arya and the Hound, they're out there sitting down and kind of, I guess you can say, recuperating a little bit from all their little adventures. And the Hound he's upset because his neck is bit. And then after that, she comes over to him with some fire and says, you need to try to cleanse it, you know, and we had to wash it out, put some fire on there. He says, "No fire." She says, "Well, at least let me wash it out and then sew it up so you won't die." And then the Hound starts to tell this story about his brother, okay? And this is the story about his brother that kind of explains his face, the reason why he's burned, okay? The Hound was playing with his brother, who was back in this episode now, who's back, I guess, now in the 9 realms. He's back, and whenever the Hound was a kid, he was playing with his brother's toys. His brother grabbed his face, pushed it into the fire, and then his father protected his brother and then lied and said that that the Hound's bed caught on fire with their linen and stuff. And that's the story of how the Hound had his face burned. That was really, really awesome, and I really did enjoy how they explained that, man. Real quick, man, the ghost has to be locked up in house because Sir Alliser, man, is making Lord Snow do that. And then Lord Snow tries to warn of the threat that's coming. No one wants to listen to him because they think that, obviously, you know, the elders think that he's trying to take control of the Night's Watch, which is not true. He's actually trying to warn them. And then Melisandre is is continuing, man, to recruit, man, for the Lord of Light. That is everything that happened in tonight's episode. It's really, really fast. And, yeah, it was a really good episode, man. One of my favorite episodes. And once again, man, just to kind of sum everything up, the moon door took deaths. And Lady Sansa is safe. Lord Baelish is safe. Lord Baelish killed Lady LYSA. And that's pretty much it, man. Prince Oberyn will be fighting for Tyrion, and that is the episode. That's pretty much all the highlights of the episode, man. Khaleesi is still doing good, and I still love Game of Thrones. Now, right here, guys. Thanks again for listening.